My guest today is Rabbi Ari Enkin. Since making Aliyah to Israel, Rabbi Ari Enkin has taught halacha, which means Jewish law, studies, at a number of yeshivot and seminaries, and delivers lectures in the community by invitation. He is currently the rabbinic director of United with Israel, director of the halacha program at Yeshivat Migdal HaTorah in Modin, and a rabbi at Yeshivat Eshrenu in Beit Shemesh. He's also the general editor and halacha columnist of the highly acclaimed halacha website Hir Hurim at TorahMusings.com. Rabbi Enkin is regularly consulted for halachic guidance and advice by rabbis and laymen alike. He's an author of a number of books. The one of which I speak with him about today is called Health and Wellness, Halachic Perspectives. Please leave a review about the show and today's guest on Apple Podcast. You still have time to enter the giveaway. And head over to SolomonEzra.com or follow me on Instagram at King_Solomon8 and Facebook Solomon Ezra Berezin to learn more. Make sure you do something actionable with your learnings today and be sure to let us know via message or social media. Now onto the show with Rabbi Ari Enkin. Hello, Rabbi Ari. Can you hear me?
Shalom Aleichem. I hear you and see you.
Aleichem Shalom. How are you doing?
Good. Baruch Hashem. How are you doing?
Doing Beseder. Thank you very much. Well, I'd love to give you a little background of how I came across your book and wanted to reach out. Given that I mentioned, I played college basketball, and after transitioning into holistic health coaching, because I love how everything is interconnected, mind, body, soul, and wanted to be able to help somebody in that way, not just to balance per se somebody's physical health with whatever else, but to really get everything in harmony. And so it's always been a passion of mine, and not just for itself, but it leads to, when you're taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally / spiritually, everything else seems to flow a lot more effortless. And last summer was the first time I went to a yeshiva in Jerusalem at Mayanot. And, I'd kind of had the concerns of sorts from wherever I'd heard before about that. Yeshivas aren't the healthiest physically of places.
Yeah. Right.
And
right.
That's always, so even upon studying that or studying there, it's become a kind of vision of mine to improve the health of.
Listen, as I write in my book in the Health and Wellness and Halacha, the Chafetz Chaim and the Rav Kook were very pro-exercise for the yeshiva boys.
Precisely. So funny enough, though, it was in one of the classrooms. Somebody brought in a couple copies, and I picked it up, and I was like, health. It's
totally up your alley.
Yes,
totally
exactly.
Up your alley. Yeah.
So I grabbed it, started reading it, and I love, by the way, how it's pretty much just a bunch of quotes of different sources for each aspect of health, from
exercise, sleep, healthy eating, right? Every category,
hygiene. Exactly. Right. So that's a little how I came across it, but I'd love to hear a little bit about your background and what led to becoming the rabbi you are now in Ramat Beit Shemesh, and we'll go from there.
Wow. If you need my biography, we don't have enough time in the podcast to know what I went through in the last 45 years.
Wow.
To make a very long story short, I'm a Baal Tshuva. I became religious at about 15, 16, made my ways into yeshiva, and then with learning to smicha. And I was a rabbi in Montreal and Edmonton and Winnipeg before making Aliyah about 15 years ago, perhaps more. And my emphasis has always been in halacha. I write halacha books. I teach halacha. I teach online. I have smicha preparation, smicha courses, everything in halacha. That's my life. Bezrat Hashem, Baruch Hashem. I'm in halacha all day long, all over Shulchan Aruch. And I teach it and I write it and I, edit other people's halacha sfarim. And that's my life. That's my world. So also another interest of mine, like yours, is healthy eating, healthy living. I used to be much, much heavier. And I used to weigh about 220. Before I met Ali, I was in pounds. Now I'm in Israel, I'm in kilos. So I think in kilos, I used to be like 95 or 100 kilos. And now, Baruch Hashem, I'm pretty much maintaining 75 kilos, 76 kilos. So I lost a lot of weight, a lot of trial and error. And the whole healthy lifestyle, I think that's part of godliness. And there's halachas that people don't know or choose not to know, choose not to follow, forget to look it up, so to speak. And I put together that booklet that you've seen that encourages, halachic lifestyle, even in the healthy domain, in the health and wellness domain.
Amazing. For somebody who may not be familiar with the terms, could you talk a little bit about halacha and hashkafa? Hashkafa, and what exactly if somebody's listening, what exactly would it mean, halacha of health and all these kind of things? Because halacha is kind of laws, loosely translated.
Right. Halacha means Jewish law. But what many people don't realize, Jews and non-Jews, is that Jewish law, halacha, covers everything in our life from the time we wake up until we go to bed at night. Not merely what we eat and what we do and Shabbat and ritual, but also the civil, the monetary, and yes, even the world of health has halacha, with all the great sages from the Talmud to the modern day authorities that all have halachic rulings that are relevant to the world of halacha, of health, halachic rulings in Jewish law that are relevant to health. Truth be told, some of the rulings are only advisory in nature and not a binding obligation. For example, how much to sleep every night. There's difference of opinions, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, or whatever you feel is right. So you have authorities giving certain hours. It's not halacha, like God said at Mount Sinai, you've got to sleep 8 hours or otherwise you're transgressing or you're sinning. No, not all of the health and halacha is like that, but there are things that are health and halacha. Overeating is a sin. Not sleeping is a sin. Not being clean is a sin. And you got to put it together in a normative, middle of the road package to make sure you have living a well-rounded, healthy lifestyle in service of God, because that is part of serving God, to be clean, to be healthy, to be eating properly, and so on.
Nice. So the hashkafa is a lot more loose and difference of
hashkafa, the philosophy. Yeah, there's a lot of different opinion, and that's valid. Don't get me wrong, it's valid. So you got to know. I mean, I tried in my book to have a differentiation to show this exact sources, so readers will know what is truly binding Jewish law and what's more advisory in nature.
So when you were first embarking on this, well, maybe not even just the book, but in your own health journey, what sparked it, and what were all the different sources that you began to look for? Because you mentioned quite often in the book, you have the ones that come up to mind that I recognized often was, of course, Rambam in the beginning of his Mishnah Torah, like you mentioned a little bit earlier, the Chafetz Chaim, and what was it? The name just slipped.
Rabbi Cook.
Rav Cook. You even
Also
mentioned some. You said the Arizal.
No, I didn't mention the Arizal.
No, but the altar. I think you even mentioned the Alter Rebbe and his Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah. So, there's a lot about health and danger in the Shulchan Aruch Harav. It's called Shulchan Aruch Harav, the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
So how was what was the spark that embarked you onto the own health journey and wanting to look through all the different sources that
that's a good question,
that inspire you as well as somebody else to, this is how I should be? Because it's also a fascinating side note that somebody like Rambam, everything he's saying, or not everything, but a lot of the things our science and research nowadays is affirming, so to speak.
Right. A lot of it's affirming, and lots of science tells us that our sages were wrong in certain areas of health and medicine, and we are supposed to follow the doctors when it comes to professional medical advice, and not necessarily the sages. But yeah, some things were proven to be correct, and some things were proven. The rabbis did the best they can with the information they had at the time, and they made the rulings and the advisory teachings that they did. I got into this going back, I guess, 5 years, maybe more, a little bit more. I realized I was too big. I was too heavy. I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't healthy. And I knew I had to lose weight. And I wanted the encouragement from our sources, from Jewish sources.
Yeah.
You can always put on, a YouTube workout video and try, dance to the video and try and burn some calories, which I do recently and regularly. That's actually one of my newer things now is these full body workouts, very important, 10-minute workouts, 20-minute workouts. Just last week, I bought dumbbells and I'm doing the weights every so often.
Nice.
every second day, the jump rope. So I'm trying to really take this seriously. You know, we talk about that on Hanukkah, how the Syrian Greeks, they were all into their physical appearance. They're all into the body, not the soul. It's not that we're into the soul and not the body. We're into body and soul. Their problem was it was only body. But we got to take the good from the Syrian Greeks, the Hanukkah story about being in shape and being strong, and use that in our service of God. And so, I came across all the sources to talk about things like this. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov has a lot about proper eating and proper health. That was a great jumpstart. There's a great book.
He has like his whole the anatomy of the soul, correct? Is that where he talks about it?
I don't remember. I think I saw in the Likutei Moharan, actually, and maybe Sefer Hamidos as well. I remember seeing. There's a great book out that every reader, everyone who watches this podcast must get immediately, and it's a book. It's called "All to Your Health" by Rabbi Yecheskel Ishaya. To Your Health.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's a rabbi from Bnei Brak. He must be a much older man now, who basically, before me and better than me, put all the sources from all our sages and the Talmud into a book. And it's called To Your Health. In addition to these sources, the teachings of the sages, he's got diet plans and diet ideas. He goes into dental health, and he goes into it much more. So that anyone who's looking for a healthy style from a Jewish perspective is obligated to read that book. I get no commission on sales. I don't even know the author. And it's a must-have. It's a must-have, a must-read. And I've read it and reread it. And that's also inspiration to want to lose weight and live healthy. That one book will change people's lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you were looking into all the different sources, it seems that a lot of it is more so guiding onto what's the proper intention and how to take care of it, of one's body. And like you were just mentioning with the example with the Greeks, they didn't really even have any care about the soul. But you were saying, we can use the body in greater service of the soul. So with the different quotes and the inspiration, how did you then translate it into action? How would you encourage?
I don't know fully what you mean, but I mean, all the teachings on healthy eating and not overeating, you implement it in your daily meals. I generally have 1 to 2 meals a day at tops. I'm not really hungry. I snack on vegetables all day long, and you apply it the way you want to apply it. I mean, nobody says you must exercise X amount of hours a day, but you have to exercise. It's got to be in the routine. Some doctors say 45 minutes a week is all you need. Others say you need 45 minutes a day. Find your happy medium. You got to do something.
Nice.
You got to do something. Yeah.
What were some of the things that stuck out to you when reading, like on the different topics of sleep, exercise? Is there anything that came? Two areas more than others, and it's like you said, sleep and eating. By me, sleep is kodesh kadoshim.
Nothing comes in the way of a proper sleep of a minimum of 7 hours a night. That's what I counsel. That's what I teach. It's more important than food. It's more important than anything is a proper sleep. If you're not having a good sleep, you're going to be in a bad mood. You won't be able to study Torah. You won't be able to function in your job. And you're obligated to function in your job to the best of your ability. If you're lacking sleep, you're not fulfilling your commitment to your boss to give it all you can. You need to sleep. There's nothing more important and more holy than sleep. I don't want to hear from students that they're going to spend an extra hour studying Torah on sacrifice of their sleep. That's illegitimate. That's sinful. That's the Yetzer Hara talking. Okay. Sleep is very, very important. And the other thing that I focus on more than others is proper eating. Okay. Exercise won't help you lose weight. I mean, it'll help, but exercise is not the key to losing weight. It's what you eat is the key to losing weight. And who said you have to enjoy your food every day of the week? I'm not saying to have horrible food and bread and water, but good tasting food is for Shabbos and for holidays. Okay, there's no mitzvah to have the delicacies during the week. And perhaps maybe it's a form of sinful to indulge in delicious foods all week long. Again, everyone according to their level. Some people can't handle. They need certain tasting foods all week. But think of eating is for Shabbos. Surviving is for during the week. Serving God, eating what you need indulging is for Shabbos. As the song says, Echol mashmanim shtei mamtakim. We say one of the Shabbos miros, that on Shabbos, eat the fatty foods. How's it go, the tune? Echol mashmanim shtei mamtakim ki el yiten lechol bodevekim. Eating fatty foods and sweet drinks for Shabbos. What heter do fatty foods during the week? I don't know. I can't find the heter. If you have a heter, let me know. To eat fatty foods during the week. But you don't have to indulge in food. You eat to survive. And bread.
Nowadays we can thrive throughout the whole week. Though we can have those unhealthy or the foods that seem like desserts, but we can just get the healthy alternative.
We should get a healthy alternative. And also, even though there's a mitzvah to indulge on Shabbos, it doesn't mean to overeat. Yeah. It doesn't mean to be achila gasa, to be stuffing yourself. It means to taste different foods, better foods. But you get the mitzvah of eating the special foods with a kazayas, with a small amount of food. You don't need platefuls and platefuls of cholent and kugel and kishka to get the mitzvah of enjoying Shabbos. Yeah. Just even a few bites, you've got the mitzvah. Which I tell you, each to his own and each at his own level. You have to build it up. Yeah. I'm holding at a level right now that I rarely eat bread during the week. And the bracha mizonos, I don't think I say during the week, all week long, a bracha mizonos. So that's a good place to start for viewers to start their healthy eating is bread. Cut out the bread, cut out the cake. You're halfway there.
Yeah. One of the areas that really grabbed my attention, and the more and more also in my own journey of learning a lot about it, was that in towards the end, I think it's actually from Rav Kook, you talk about the teshuvah through the body. Here I find he says in the last
what page?
Page 64. It's talking about exercise, Torah, and teshuvah. He says, interestingly, the first step on the way is getting one's body in shape. Rav Kook calls this teshuvah of the body. To return to a state of inner harmony and divine connection, a person must first have a healthy body. And that I just was very validating in a way.
Rambam writes stuff like that also. The Rambam also has, you can't serve God if you're not healthy. That's a Rambam also.
So I think I read it in your book, but I couldn't seem to find it. But it was something about how the teshuvah of our day, or teshuvah of a tzaddik, something had to do with it's actually through the body. Do you recall anything?
I will check for you right now. I'm looking right now. So you're looking for tshuva in the body?
It almost felt, I almost thought that it was saying something like teshuvah is directly actually through the body. And it grabbed my attention because nowadays also what we're learning is, and the popular book that's often mentioned, I use it just because the title accurately describes it, but it's the body keeps the score, so to speak. So when you do an actual teshuvah, like a return, it has an effect on the body. It translates into how the body expresses itself. So it really.
So I'm not recalling what you're saying right now, but perhaps you're referring to this article, which I'm putting in the chat box right now. That might be that article is a woman author. I forgot her name. I have her article in whole in the book, in my health and wellness book, and she talks about tshuva and body. Maybe you're referring to her article, but I don't think you're referring to something that I personally wrote. I don't recall.
Oh yeah, just in the book, but it could be the what's in here. But yeah, I'll check it out. It's very cool.
As you'll see, my book is half quotes from the sages and half articles by modern day writers on the importance of. There's also Rabbi Samson's on page 63. You might be referring to is on page 63 or 59. There's two articles back to back, 59 to 63. So you can take a look over there. Tshuva on the body, tshuva, I think is what you're looking for.
Here it is. Weight loss.
Yeah.
Well, I found the one that you also sent.
I just put it in the chat box. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great book, and it's also different things. You even go into having somebody else article on exercise on Shabbat, just walking, walking, going through it, and it's,
how you could exercise on Shabbat.
Yeah, it's great because often when I've given courses or I talk about just nutrition, also sometimes we can get so rigid with sleep or nutrition or anything that itself becomes a constraint of sorts. So it's nice what you were mentioning and also have in the book about Shabbat, and also the mindset, like how we approach our food can be really important, because even if I'm eating like a very healthy diet per se, but then I come across a piece of a cake on Shabbat or the challah, whatever it is, and I'm beginning to have the thoughts of, well, I know if I eat this, I'm gonna feel bloated afterwards, and this is gonna
Right.
happen.
Oh,
You
yeah.
begin that actually already begins to anticipate, and it's almost like you're telling your body, feel like this after I put this food in. So it's a really a holistic and positive way how to have your mindset to also allow yourself to eat those kind of
And
things.
let me tell you that I'm happy to send the entire book with its cover for reprinting anywhere in the world, no charge. If anyone's interested in sponsoring further copies,
Wow.
it's not very expensive to print, whether you're in Los Angeles or Australia. I'll send you the file, get a sponsor, do it yourself. It's really not expensive. I think the rewards are tremendous. The encouragement to give to other people, the inspiration to give to other people. You print these out for $2 or $3 a book. You know, you print out a few hundred copies. I'll send you the files and we get it printed around the world at
Wow.
no charge.
I think it
For
would
me
be a
at
great
least.
thing. We could even let's continue this about even putting more into the different yeshivas.
Yeah, I basically run out of copies myself, but like I said, I'm happy to send the files for reprinting anywhere in the world, same day. Happy to
Yeah.
get reprinted the same day.
As we come to towards the end, I'd love to hear a little more. How do you think we can, based on the advice of some of our sages, and like you mentioned, the Chafetz Chaim, I think it was him in the book. One of them, it mentioned that he would kind of get angry at some of his students if they were staying up too late, and he would like tell them to go to bed, get some sleep. So how can we improve the outlay or the schedule per se in the different yeshivot today?
Well, you need the yeshiva to really enforce rules. If the curfew is midnight, there has to be midnight, and the boys have to be mature enough to accept that. We have to understand that that's part of service of God, is getting a good night's sleep. Like I said, it's no excuse. You want to learn an extra hour of Torah? That's not Torah learning. It's like the person on Yom Kippur who wants to be a tzaddik and learn Torah on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is not for Torah study. Yom Kippur is for prayer, okay? And nighttime is for sleep. It's not for Torah study. So you're doing a mitzvah hababa vera to some extent by learning Torah in the wrong times. And you need self-control, and got to realize that these things are mitzvahs as well. It's part of serving God.
Well, very nice. We'll continue this journey, and also establishing, God willing, more also just some physical exercise in there, making sure all of it, because it's all complementary.
Hey, listen, maybe in the future down the road with your clients, I'll do some rabbinic exercise videos. I've pretty much mastered the basic home full body workout, no equipment needed. I do have some bar dumbbells, and I do some of that as well. And it's all doable. And it's part of serving God. And if you don't do it, it's your Yetzer Hara speaking.
Yeah. If anything, I think you even had also another quote in there that somebody who does all those things, takes care of the sleep, taking care of the body, you're able to learn twice as much in shorter amount of time.
Yeah, no, twice as much, but definitely you're more accomplishing and you're working more efficiently.
I'm just sharing quote. I'm just quoting.
Yeah, I don't remember. You double.
I have to
I
find
don't remember
it.
the quote being double. Yeah, it could be. It could be. I don't remember the quote offhand. But you're definitely going to work more efficiently if you're healthy and you're well rested and you're eating healthy foods.
Well,
so thank you very much for inviting me to be with you.
Yes, Rabbi, it's a pleasure. And what are all you have a couple other books as well, correct?
Yeah, I've written, I have a series of about 10 different volumes of Jewish law. Like I said, I read halacha. You can find my books online. Each book is 100 different halachic topics in 2 to 3 pages every topic. I'm working on volume number 10 in that series. Mirz Hashem. The series is called the Dalet Amot Halach series. It's the name of the series of all the books. Each book has a different name, different title. And like I said, work on number 10. And in the booklet series, I have 2 or 3 booklets. You have the health and wellness that we've been speaking about. I also have a booklet of similar size about not talking in shul, not talking during the prayers, the davening in shul. And others little kuntresim, as they say, pamphlet booklets out as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to, further study halacha with me, they can pick up my books generally directly from me. My Sfar and my English books are not in stores generally, only available directly from me, and happy to mail around the world.
Great. I think I'll have to be in contact with you and continue learning. Because to me,
Pleasure.
I I used to kind of stay away, or not stay away, but have not the best of outlook on halacha, like what is it, all this. But then I heard a quote by the Baal Shem Tov that halacha is hariyu laHashem kol haaretz. Like we say it in davening, or at least in the siddur of the Ariz, the Chabad siddur, right after we say a psuke de Zimra, or the first part, it's the Psalm 100. I believe it's Psalm 100. I'm just pulling it up really quickly. It says Mizmor Letoda Hariu Lashem Kol Haaretz, and then the first letters is an acronym for halacha. So it's a very different different approach, that halacha isn't just laws and whatnot, but it's how to really function at your best, like an instrument, and it includes health and all of that.
Listen, the sages say the most important study we should do is halacha, not Talmud, not Chumash, but the Mishnah Berurah brings it down. The Shach and Yoredea brings it down. I think the Mishnah Berurah says, the Shach says a minimum of 3 hours a day of halacha study. Let's see anyone learning 3 hours a day of Torah in general, but you see, halacha, it has to be the primary focus. Without halacha, we don't know how to serve God.
Well, I'm gonna have to reach out to you to help make myself a learning schedule here until I.
With pleasure. I teach smicha, I teach halacha, Shabbos, whatever.
Amazing. Well, Rabbi, it's been
Thank you
to connect. Thank you again for all your works, especially this one, bringing down the different sources, because sometimes we resonate with the language of our own family members, so to speak, of our language. So it's been a true pleasure, and hope to meet in person soon enough.
With pleasure, here in Israel.
How can
be well?
How can people go? Do you have a website? How can people check out all
so
mentioned?
So the best is to contact me by email, rabbiari@hotmail.com, rabbiari, one word lowercase, @hotmail.com. And I think my WhatsApp number, you can find it easily on Google, perhaps as well, available by WhatsApp.
Awesome.
For halacha questions or whatever. Okay.
Sounds great.
Laila Tov in Israel. Laila Tov, good night. Thank you so much.